Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Healing from Great Loss, Facing Pain and Grief to Recover Your Authentic Self, by Anne J. Clark, Ph.D., RN. Foreword by Peter Smith. Narrated by Anna Caputo. Disclaimer. The information in this book is designed to provide helpful information about healing from significant loss. It is not intended to be, nor should it be used as, a substitute for the advice and care of professional healthcare providers or licensed professional counselors. One is advised to consult these professionals for matters related to their physical or mental health, particularly those signs and symptoms that may require diagnosis and treatment. Forward. I remember well the moment I met Dr. Anne Clark. We were preparing the training room at the San Damiano Retreat Center outside of San Francisco, ready to undertake an incredible week of training for the Michael Newton Institute. Anne came through with her bag, looking for her room down the corridor. I sense now that in that moment, our souls smiled at each other, knowing what was to come in our work together. The author of this book is a remarkable person for many reasons, though for me, her accomplishments at the Michael Newton Institute have been profound. She created our research department under the robust guidelines that must always be present to be successful. She oversaw the creation of 2 books for our organization, the first at the direct invitation of Dr. Michael Newton himself, as he handed the baton to Anne to take his life's work to the world through the written word. The second book was a compilation of many cases into a practical volume of inspiring life-between-lives stories containing wisdom for living, which was Anne's idea from start to finish. Michael's passion had become Anne's, and it came as no surprise to anyone that she was awarded the Peggy Newton Award for Outstanding Service to the Michael Newton Institute. This is an award that has been given only a handful of times over the years, and is the highest honor our organization can bestow. Throughout all this, Anne suffered the greatest tragedy a parent can ever know when she lost her daughter. I witnessed just a small amount of the pain she endured, and eventually transcended. It was a journey that was literally multidimensional in all its complexity. When Anne mentioned that she was to write this book, there was something in the background that stirred for me ever so gently, just outside my line of sight. It was like there was a knowing that once again, Anne was creating something of magnitude to serve humanity in ways that she may not even realize. There it was, a powerful and extraordinary way to observe, embrace, and honor the experience of human grief from a transcended perspective. Here was the perfect person to offer this sacred gift to anyone who has dealt with great loss. A powerful intellect, honed through the world of academia, combined with the passion of a spiritual explorer of the afterlife, grounded in the deep and heartfelt experience of living with great loss. This book is far more than that story, however. Anne brings her experience as a nurse to this endeavor. As anyone who has ever met a lifelong nurse will tell you, it is not a profession, but a calling. It is a desire to serve humanity through the gentle presence that nursing brings, offering the compassion and service that it takes to help someone heal. This book carries all of that, though it was born of the desire to serve others that is part of the character of this author. I feel that it comes from the human being who pulled these words together, as much as the intention of the immortal presence that shares the form. I know in my heart that this book is a gift to the world and will help countless numbers of people deal with the challenges they face as they move through their own great loss. For me, that day in the training room near San Francisco was one of those moments when you cross paths with an exceptional person. Even though I did not yet know Anne well in human form, my meeting with her echoed something deeper in me, that this was someone of significance who had been brought to our institute to do something that no one else could. As I have the great honor to write these words, I sense our souls smiling at each other once again. You have in your possession a remarkable book written by a special person. May it serve you well from the pure intention in which it was written. Peter Smith, President of the Michael Newton Institute, 2009 to 2019. Introduction. If you have experienced a serious loss, such as the loss of a loved one, a divorce, the loss of health or physical function, job loss, or financial disaster, and are having a hard time getting over it, then this book is for you. I experienced a devastating loss with the unexpected death of my adult daughter, my only child, several years ago. While I'd experienced other losses in my life, nothing impacted me the way losing my daughter did. A divorce years earlier, the loss of my mother, and most recently the loss of my youngest brother were all painful losses. But this one was different. It felt as if the very foundation of my life had crumbled, and I did not know how to pick up the pieces and go on. I have always found the advice in books helpful at difficult times in my life, and I searched desperately for ones that would help me then. I did find several that were helpful in the early stages of my grief, but later I needed something more. I wanted to find a book that acknowledged what I believe to be our true reality as souls who have incarnated on earth to grow spiritually. One that would help me make sense of the tragedy that had blindsided me. I also wanted to learn why this loss hurt so much worse than those that preceded it, and how to relieve the pain that I was experiencing. That book was nowhere to be found. I vowed that if I were able to successfully move beyond this disaster, I would share the path to healing that I had discovered. I experienced several major breakthroughs in my understanding of loss from the soul's perspective as I struggled to regain my footing in the world. I also gained a new perspective on the physical, emotional, and mental toll that a great loss exerts on our being. I call this type of loss great loss because it turns our world upside down and steals our sense of security and our sense of place in the world. I came to realize that this type of loss, while common, is not well understood. A different perspective was needed for me to grasp the meaning that losses of this type have on our lives, and to realize the spiritual gift that is embedded in the experience. Considering loss from the soul's perspective was the key. I learned that great loss comes into our lives when we are stuck in patterns that are limiting our spiritual growth. The loss frees us from these limiting patterns and enables us to return to pursuing the plans we made for our current life on earth. The gift in this experience is the opportunity to become our authentic self and achieve renewed fulfillment and joy in our lives. However, first we must heal, and this book will show you how. There are thousands of books available on loss, many of which are helpful for those experiencing serious loss, and for those of us experiencing great loss in its early stages. However, to work our way through great loss and its aftermath, we need some additional assistance. This book picks up where the other books on grief have left off to fill that gap. While the first stages of grief from great loss are like those experienced in all significant losses, there is more for us to heal before we regain our equilibrium. While all individuals who've experienced loss must learn to live without the person or thing they have lost, our adjustment is more complicated. We have lost a piece of our core identity and security. We must rebuild our lives from the foundation because they have been upended. This book is unique among those about grieving and loss. What makes this one different is that it addresses the kind of loss that shatters our world, robbing us of our sense of safety, stability, and self-assurance. Describes significant loss from the perspective of the soul. speaks to loss that occurs when we are not in touch with our inner guidance and are stuck in patterns that limit our spiritual growth. And offers specific strategies to heal from the loss, enabling us to recover our authentic self and find renewed fulfillment and joy in our lives. Great loss feels so devastating because it deprives us of our source of certainty and confidence in an uncertain world. It takes from us someone or something that we cannot bear to lose. It robs us of what we view as making our life worth living. Great loss causes us to question what is meaningful in our lives. At the same time, great loss is a spiritual gift, one that can help us build soul character and lead more fulfilling lives. Perhaps we have lost a person central to our well-being, or perhaps we have lost our career, our faith, or our health, or have experienced an unfulfilled expectation central to our lives. It could be that we are focusing too strongly on someone or something outside of ourselves. Or it could be that we are so distracted living a busy life that we lose track of who we are and where we are going. Or perhaps we have fallen into an undemanding lifestyle in which we have traded comfort and security for true fulfillment. Whatever the case, great loss stops us in our tracks. Our true identity as souls. As souls, our true home is in the spirit world. We choose to incarnate on earth to build soul character and to advance spiritually. We can view coming here as going away to school. We plan our life circumstances and what we want to learn as if we are planning a course of study. We've done this many times before through the self-improvement process of reincarnation. What we do not learn in one life, we carry over to the next. We join with the human body of our choice each time we incarnate, and the conscious self, or ego, allows us to interact and participate in life on earth. We incarnate with a portion of our soul energy that resides within us as our higher self. Our higher self provides us with subtle inner guidance while we are living on earth. This is important, as we forget who we are and why we came here once we have incarnated. This inner guidance serves to keep us on track as we pursue our life purpose. Great loss in our lives. Great loss occurs at a time when we are chugging along with a false sense of well-being because we are not in touch with this inner guidance and living as our authentic self. Thus, we are disconnected from the internal compass that helps us steer our ship during our earth journey, our higher self, and we are traveling blindly. When the loss occurs, it knocks us completely out of our comfort zone and leaves us panicked, confused, and disheartened. Not all losses that we experience in our lives will affect us in this way. While all losses are painful and require some adjustment, not all of them shake our very foundation. Our security can be disturbed by a great loss because we lose someone or something outside of ourselves that we regard as essential to our welfare. In contrast, when we are in sync with our higher, or true, self, and living as our authentic self, nothing can shake our foundation. Great loss, as depicted in this book, comes when patterns in our life are limiting our soul growth, or when we are living life on the surface rather than venturing deep inside to live life as our true self. It comes at a time when we are disconnected from our inner guidance and are focused on someone or something outside of ourselves, or just not focused at all. The loss is not an unfortunate twist of fate or a punishment for ignoring our inner guidance, however. Rather, the loss is an invitation from our soul self to remember what we came to Earth to accomplish this time. It is an invitation to integrate our conscious self, or ego, with our higher self, and begin living life on Earth as our authentic, or true, self. We receive this invitation because when we planned our current life, we set the intention for this to be one in which we make significant spiritual progress. We asked to be alerted should we get off track or become stalled in reaching our goals. Accepting the invitation to integrate our conscious self with our higher self will allow us to get back to our own life path. This will provide guidance to us in fulfilling our life purpose, and will also bring greater joy and happiness into our lives. Lest you conclude that a lack of connection with your inner guidance at the time of your loss caused it, let me hasten to correct that misconception. There are many people who sail through life without access to their inner guidance and never experience a significant loss. We have free will and can choose to disregard the promptings of our higher self. Failure to acknowledge the subtle voice of our higher self does not cause loss. It just results in us going through life without the guidance that is available to us. When we fail to tune in to our inner guidance, we reduce the chances that we will stay on track and accomplish the goals that we set for this lifetime. Our disconnection from this inner guidance does not cause our loss, but when great loss occurs, we are off course or stalled in pursuing spiritual growth. Our loss is a spiritual gift. It is a wake-up call from our higher self, reminding us to make the most of the days that we have left on earth. This misfortune is an event that can free us from limiting patterns in our life and give us a second chance to achieve the purpose that we chose for our current incarnation. Thus, if we choose to accept this gift, our lives can be better than ever, and we will grow immeasurably as souls. There is much healing we will do along the way. I will show you how. Using my own story and those of friends, colleagues, and patients from my practice in spiritual hypnotherapy, I will help you gain an understanding of the spiritual meaning of great loss in your life. I will provide guidance to help you grasp the opportunity for significant spiritual growth and greater happiness that this type of loss offers. To protect the privacy of those who have shared their stories with me, I have created composite accounts of fictional characters, sticking as closely as possible to the real experiences. I have also included some cases of relevant Life Between Lives sessions conducted by me as a Michael Newton Institute Life Between Lives facilitator, with permission of the patients. I forewarn you about the potential long-term effects of this type of loss so that you can be prepared to avoid or minimize them. Great loss breaks us open and reveals all the previous losses in our lives that we have not resolved. While this can be painful, it creates just the right circumstances to allow us to heal. Most importantly, I assure you that contained within your loss is the opportunity to make your life even better than it was before. I map out the route that helped me gain an understanding of my loss and move forward in my life with renewed energy. Also included are specific suggestions that you can follow to heal from your great loss. Those of us who have experienced a great loss have lived through great pain, but have also had the good fortune to have loved deeply and/or experienced great passion. We will always remember the love and/or passion we experienced, but the pain of our loss will greatly lessen over time. The good news is that not only is it possible to grow beyond our loss, but the life that follows can be even more fulfilling than it was before. While the loss we've experienced has been very traumatic, we can heal from it by facing our pain and grief. The message of this book is that we can successfully integrate this loss into our lives and achieve significant spiritual growth and happiness. Through accepting this soul invitation, we can recover our authentic self, making our lives richer and more meaningful. I want you to know that you are not alone in this journey. We have much to look forward to in the future when we choose to heal and grow from our loss. One word of caution. If your loss has been very recent and you are still reeling from the shock and strong emotions that follow any significant loss, put this book aside for a while. This is not a book for those in the early stages of adjusting to a loss. Rather, it is what is needed when we have passed through the shock and acute pain of the loss and are left feeling anxious, empty, and deeply disappointed with the turn that our life has taken. It is what we need when we realize that we have survived and are questioning, what do I do now? When you are ready, I am here to guide you on your road to a new life. After the loss. Well, it is easier to make no active changes after we have survived the early stages of mourning and just try to get by. Unless we seek to heal and learn from the experience, we will suffer needlessly. We will also be passing up a unique opportunity to find greater fulfillment in our lives and achieve significant spiritual progress. Modifying our circumstances alone, in the absence of healing measures, is not sufficient to ease our aching heart. Likewise, jumping into something else right away might make the pain go away temporarily, but it will not help us grow from our loss into a better life. This is a bewildering time, and no one knows better what we need to move forward and learn to live in our new reality than we do ourselves. The key is to connect with our inner guidance and the spiritual assistance available to us. This will lead us to healing and a renewed zest for living. It can also save us from the potential pitfalls that lie ahead. For example, we could slip into bitterness and disillusionment. Not a very pleasant place to be. We could also go on just living on the surface by allowing the ever-changing conditions in our everyday life to shape us. Or we could get stuck in patterns that limit our spiritual growth again. It all sounds scary, but the solution is simple. By connecting with our inner guidance, we will have a light to guide us to a more fulfilling life, one in which we can make significant spiritual advancement and find joy. What this book covers. In Chapter 1, I tell you the story of my great loss. The death of my precious daughter was unexpected and could not have come at a worse time. I was hospitalized for knee surgery when it happened and had never been both so physically and emotionally miserable in my life. My belief in our identity as souls and my knowledge of the afterlife were central to my understanding of and healing from this loss. I share with you my road to healing and what really helped me find peace and renewed energy for living. In Chapter 2, life on Earth is described from the soul's perspective. What we have learned from the work of Dr. Michael Newton, whose extensive research informs us about our lives as souls both on Earth and in our true home in the spirit world, is discussed. Dr. Newton is the developer of the Life Between Lives technique and the author of several books, including Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. New information that has emerged from the over 65,000 Life Between Lives sessions that have been performed by Michael Newton Institute members worldwide is also included. Why we choose to come to Earth and how we carefully plan each lifetime is discussed. The system of spiritual guidance that is available to us while living on Earth is also explained. In Chapter 3, great loss is defined and differentiated from other losses that we may have experienced in our lives. Great loss takes from us what has been the center of our lives and what gives us a sense of security, purpose, and/or belongingness. The loss comes at a time when we either have become stuck in patterns that keep us from moving forward on our soul's journey, or are too complacent or distracted with the busyness of our lives to be aware of our inner guidance. This sets the stage for Chapter 4, which defines loss from the soul's perspective. There is no loss in the spirit world, a place of peace, love, and harmony. Loss is an experience that the soul seeks during an earth incarnation for the spiritual growth that it can produce. There are multiple reasons why we might plan a significant loss, such as experiencing the pain of loss so that we can help others with grieving in the future, or seeking karmic balance in our life experiences. We may have made a contract with another soul to participate in a life that includes a painful separation or betrayal that will provide learning for us both. A great loss is a rude awakening that provides us with an opportunity to evaluate how we are using our current lifetime. The loss is also a spiritual gift that gives us a unique chance to change direction and get back to our own life plans. Chapter 4 describes great loss as an event that we include in our life planning to rescue us should we lose track of our life purpose in a life in which we intend to gain significant spiritual growth. In my case, and maybe yours too, the primary soul lesson for this lifetime was contained within the pattern in which I had become stuck. I will explain that fully in Chapter 11. There comes a time, after our loss and the emotional roller coaster that we have been on, when something begins stirring within us that urges us to get back to a more normal existence. This is a time when we have a choice to make, although it is largely unconscious. This is a defining moment, a point at which we make a decision that will dramatically affect the rest of our lives. This is the point at which we can choose to accept the invitation from our soul self to align with who we truly are and learn the lessons we came to master during this lifetime. Defining moments are discussed in Chapter 5. We may not know when our defining moments are coming, but we can prepare for them. Information is provided on how to prepare for defining moments. Cases are presented that show us that we generally have more than one opportunity to revisit this choice if we have not made it in our own best interest. An important part of healing from great loss is addressing the effects of our loss on our physical self. Loss can precipitate long-term difficulties in sleeping, eating, and feeling at ease in our lives. Fatigue can be prolonged. The incidence of serious illness or injury is increased in the 2 to 6 years following a loss. Chapter 6 discusses the long-term physical effects of loss and offers strategies for coping with them. Chapter 7 discusses the long-term psychological effects of great loss. A loss of confidence, energy, and/or motivation, and a temporary difficulty in relating to others are often present. The world no longer seems as safe or manageable as it once did. Anxiety is often an issue. The effort to cling to our old life following a loss is understandable, but that option is no longer there. Attempts to rearrange things to recreate life as it was before the loss as closely as possible are generally unsatisfying. There is a danger that we may slip into a distraction such as food, alcohol, or work, or we may overdo computer time, TV watching, reading, exercising, or socializing. Sooner or later, we come to the realization that the distraction is not working, and then a new direction is needed. Managing the psychological aftereffects of great loss is discussed in Chapter 7. The spiritual gift of great loss is discussed in Chapter 8. Our loss knocks us out of our comfort zone and gives us a chance to reflect on where our life is going. This provides us with an opportunity to change direction and reflect on what we hope to accomplish in our lives. It also gives us the time and the opportunity to connect with our higher self and the spiritual guidance that is available to us. Chapter 9 discusses how we can heal the wounds that are both created and revealed by our loss. To move successfully into the future, we must heal the wounds that have been exposed by our loss. While great loss leads us to a doorway to a happier, more fulfilling life, it also opens us up to old wounds that have not been healed. This can result in some deep emotional suffering if we do not address them. This pain does not go away with the passage of time. Thus, we must face our pain and grief. This is a time to engage in maximum self-care as we heal. We need to go back and heal the old wounds that are revealed by our current loss. Action is necessary to resolve this sorrow and regain a sense of well-being. We may need to forgive others, offer apologies as needed, and perhaps forgive ourselves. If we have lost a loved one, part of our healing may involve noticing the signs that they are still with us. We may also wish to reestablish communication with our departed loved one. Instructions for doing so are presented in Chapter 9. Chapter 10 discusses how we can learn life-changing lessons from our loss. Assessing our lives before our loss and looking for meaning in our lives can assist us in finding our life lessons. Included are life between lives cases that illustrate the profound learning that can follow a great loss. Successfully healing from a great loss by aligning our conscious self with our higher self leads to a life that is more joyful, authentic, and fulfilling. We become fully alive and open to all that life on earth has to offer on our soul journey.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?